Phenomenal.
You can get it striving, you can get it diving, you can get it mixing cement. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer, and the best cold beer is Vic. Vic Bitter.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that great chalk and biscuit coating.
It's so hard to have a gay time on your own.
It could be that smooth toffee ice cream in the center. Or that whole delicious golden gay time taste.
Hard to have a gay time on your own.
Streets Golden.
I'm Danny, and I'm here to call out all you crack pack bitches. You think I don't see you there? I'm the OG of this shit. But you come after the king, you better come correct. I'm Danny, motherfucker. Who are you, crack pack? You smoke crack. You better watch your back.
I am a maverick. I am a savage. I am a legend. I am a madman. You never know what I'm going to do next. I am a mad lad.
Woo! What is up, all you mad lads and bogans out there in YouTube land? My goodness, it's getting tough out there on these YouTube streets. Let me count here. How many people are streaming right now? 1, 2 in our circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Some pretty big ones too. So thank you very much for choosing to join us here tonight on this small yet humble channel. Felix says, mad lad, F Danny. Had to say it twice because Mo can't be here tonight. Yeah, on top of everything, Mo can't make it on Thursday nights. So it's always, it is always, there's always something missing when Mo isn't in the chat. But we do have this wonderful man right here in the chat, Mr. Jeremy Burtz. How you going, my friend? I think this is the first time I'm going to be using your avatar, your new avatar in the second first, I think, for 2023. It's already the 20th. He's already coming back for that most firsts title. And I look forward to it. I love seeing it. We got Jim Cox in the house. Shantan Jetty's here as well. The man will be joining us very shortly. I'll send him the link soon. Charlie Chan's here. Athaline is here. Devilfish. Danny. Dojo Coon. Great to have Dojo back in the chat, man. How you going? Dark Lord Fudd. Genuine Comics. Can't sleep. Listening to Bancroft might help. I don't know if that is an insult or a or a compliment. It's great to have you up at this late hour. Hail Felix Huss, the Link Master, who's hailing the sexiest, most phenomenal chat in all of CG. Indeed. There is my lovely wife, Mel. D's up. How you going, D? Says it's a great way to spend his lunch break. Yeah, for us, it's Friday afternoon. So that's how we're going here. I hope you're having a gay time, Bancroft. Always, Dark Lord Fudd. AGE's here. Who else? Shitbird Militia is very excited to see Shant joining us tonight, as am I. Shant says, I'm not a mod. I'm out. Shant, you know my policy. Well, I've kind of gone back on my policy. You know the rules. But maybe we'll see. We'll see. Let me send you the link and we can figure this all out. I'm going to paste it right here. That is not the link. Abort. I got to do it the right way here. Okay, copying. All right, we're getting there. Riveting YouTube, I know. Okay, he has it. Excellent. I probably should put my headphones on as well. Always forget that step. And while we wait for him to come in, who else is in here? David G has joined us. Philip V is 11th. Did you count that? What did I win, Felix Huss? Oh, congratulations. Oh, I think he's just congratulating you on being the most firsts. You really were above and beyond. What was it? 50 firsts, and the next one under was about 20 or something. All right, I hear the boop. It's time to bring in, as we call each other, our brother from another mother. He's not in his hat tonight, so I'm a little bit disappointed. He doesn't have his black hat on, but he's here. Shant, welcome back. I feel like it's been a long time.
It's been a while. Yeah, I'm not wearing a hat today because I've achieved that crossed over into that weight now where it looks like my baseball cap is blowing a bubble. So I'm just fighting it, and it's do you know what I'm talking? I don't know if you've ever had that experience. For me,
oh yes, I do. I was there maybe a year ago. I was there, the middle of the lockdowns.
Yeah,
a little bit of lockdown depression, perhaps a little bit of comfort eating, and it's sort of like
has to be stopped
like that.
Yeah.
I've got another hat that I get that effect on, but this hat from Antoine works just a treat. Shant, how you going?
I'm doing great, man. I actually like streaming when, especially if it's a niche topic like this. Not that I plan it this way, when a lot of people are streaming, because you really get a sense of who you're reaching, who's out there, and you are almost guaranteed in some ways to, see how that works. Like when we talk about action movies and things like that with Jericho over on Gabe's channel, it's the same thing. We see all these people who are into this stuff, and I think this topic, it's going to be an evergreen stream, dare I say.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, it's sort of becoming the thing that you're always streaming up against someone these days. I know, like Camel and Rob are always, looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know a time when someone isn't streaming, and it's like a case of like there's always going to be a bigger fish, even if you somehow grew your channel to be bigger than John Malin's or Shane Davis or even Ethan's, which seems like a lifetime away. Then you got Yellow Flash and Nerdrotics. Like there's always going to be someone bigger, so you just gotta do what you do and stream. What did you say? It's like I'm streaming when I'm streaming or something. I'm here when I'm here. Like,
you know who I got that from, right? Was Ethan.
What? Who? Oh, there you go.
Someone once said to Ethan early on, and I always hold people to their initial thing. Said early on, he goes, "I'm not going to look at the schedule to see who's streaming before I fire up a stream." And if a friend of mine goes, "Hey, I'm streaming," or if someone to reach out to me or something like that, that would be different. Although it'd be kind of odd because I just don't do that. But it's I went with the earliest thing, which is if we're serious about growing Comicsgate and we're serious about growing things in this space, we've got to be reaching new people. We've got to grow it, or else we're all feeding off of the same audience. And I don't think the pie is set, as Eric July likes to say.
Speaking of, the pie is not set. We're growing it. I'm trying to grow it. I'm doing the shorts. I'm trying to get back into as many videos as I possibly can. I know you are as well. I'm also simulcast on Rumble. We've got 4 watching over there right now. Rumble. I see Athelin in the chat. Hail, Atheline. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the discussion, Shanten Jetty Art on YouTube is my favorite draw stream of anyone to watch, because not only do you get to watch, it's a paint stream actually, not a draw stream, it's a paint stream. Not only do you get to watch this incredibly talented painter do his magic, but you get to hear him opine on, you cover philosophy, you cover current events, you cover Comicsgate, you cover Iron Age, all that sort of stuff. I'm putting the link in the chat here, and it's a great group of people as well. There's sort of like you have a die-hard core base, about 30 people who always watch you live, and they're great people, and great discussions in there. So if you aren't subbed to Shant, do sub and check out his streams. Looks like I need to start watching some videos. I watch most of the streams, but yeah, doing videos as well. So congratulations on the growth of the channel and everything. That is where we came across today's topic, the topic du jour. But before we get into that, Shant, there's something else I want to show you here. Actually, I'm jumping around a bit tonight, but I feel like I have to because I just saw this because it's really cool.
Have you watched Double Impact with Jericho, Gabe, and I? We jump around. I mean, it gets blue. It goes places. Jericho is insane.
For a couple of hefty fellas, you guys are light on your toes. Is that what you're saying?
No, for a couple of hefty fellas, we're hefty fellas. I think is what more accurate way of putting it.
Who would win in a Turkish wrestling match, you or Gabe?
Oh my God, are you kidding? Gabe, he's 6 foot something.
You would just
yeah,
but that's the one where you get all oiled up.
Yeah,
and I think you only wear the leather. I guess it's sort of like it's a leather version of a budgie smuggler.
Yeah,
really. Okay, let me share this because I just saw this and it's great. I want to share it with everyone.
Sure.
I shared this. I shared in Chrome tab for sound, and then I realized there's no actual sound. Check this out. So I sent the artwork like yesterday, and Phoenix Animation has already printed them out in metal. Look at that QR code and everything. They came out so good. I'm so happy about that. I probably should have the bookmarks versus stickers link. I don't know who's John. If you have that, or Felix, if you have that, maybe you could pop that in the chat. Hail Skip Edwards. Philip V says Jericho was a riot. Love that guy.
Oh my God, yeah. He's great.
Yeah, you dig into the pants. That's it. Like, who's got the bigger junk for leverage? That's really the heart of the question. But like actually, if it really is.
There's no can defend.
Now where the hell is this thing gone? Okay, let me get out of this because like it's not just mine.
Oh.
Shelby.
Excellent.
I think I might be the only one who had a double-sider, which is cool.
Dang.
Jasper's here. He says hi, cunt at his eating. He's not a fan of the new time slot. I know, Jasper. It is what it is. Do you like Kenneth Rocafort in your life?
Yeah, not a fan of Kenneth Rocafort. Most people aren't. I found.
Yeah, he needs to practice his. I didn't know what to say with that. Let's just leave that joke.
Here's the reality of it, guys. But I want to, because this speaks to a little bit, if I may, while we're talking here. Anyone who thinks that there is no place for exceptional ability and merit without any of the, looking for topics and just putting your head down and making great work, look no further than Kenneth Rocafort, man. I mean, he's made his name known by doing it.
The link is gone. Right, it's over. Yeah, if you didn't get these, you didn't get them. But maybe on the next one. Yeah, as Aldous likes to say, every time Kenneth is brought up, he's a generational talent. And I agree.
He is. He's great.
Snarchgun says, Kenneth insists upon himself, like the Godfather.
I haven't seen this yet.
Oh, yeah. That's why I wanted to show you.
I haven't seen it yet.
Look at that. You got, that's double-sided. There you go. You got a double-sided as well. Me and you, buddy.
That's right. We're brothers.
I can't wait to get these and use them as shurikens to
oh my gosh, yeah.
Defend myself from any neighborhood ninjas that might be around. Anyway, they look amazing. Thank you so much, Phoenix, and thank you to Snuggie and everyone involved in that. That is awesome. All right, so it's interesting that J.K. Rowling is in the news because of the because of this thing here. Hang on, let me get back to scheduled programming here, and I want to put this down here because I like this look. I think it's a more professional look.
I bow to Snuggie,
right
by
there.
the way.
Yeah, so this is there he is.
Yep.
How do you like it, Shant? I think he loves it.
Love it. Yeah.
Love it. How could you not love it? How cool did they look? I'm so glad. They were cheap too. They weren't like to get that whole thing. Yeah, they were.
And I hope they're not watching, affordable. Snuggie. I like my wife and kids, but I love that bookmark. And I hate to say it that way, but hopefully they're not watching.
They're not watching. Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. Mel is watching. She might pass on the message, but other than that, I think
That's true.
I think we're good. Yeah. So this is actually in the news, but this isn't what necessarily what we're going to be talking about, but it does correlate. Now, if anyone who isn't aware, and I don't know how you could be, because it's the sort of the story that won't go away, because neither side is backing down on this. There's a whole intransigent activist side who are like that we must destroy this game, and then there's 99.9% of the world who are like either I don't care or this looks awesome. It's it's friggin' Harry Potter. It's one of the biggest IPs in the world, and it's not going anywhere. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. But we did get onto this topic on one of your streams because of what's happening with J.K. Rowling and the ongoing attempted cancellation of the billionaire author. And you asked the question, when did that all start? And no one in the chat knew, but you did provide us with an answer. Do you want to take us back to 2007?
Happy to.
And what happened
Happy to.
here?
And before we start talking about this, because I think it's something I don't bring up a lot. I mean, people know about it, and if you look me up, you can learn about it. But just to give people who may be watching this, who aren't in CG, aren't in our space, but are interested in this, interested in J.K. Rowling. So my name is Shanthan Jetty. I was I went and got my Bachelor's of Fine Arts at Rhode Island School of Design. I graduated in '94. I also have a master's degree, an MFA in illustration on top of that. I taught as a part-timer for 15 years at Rhode Island School of Design. That is one of the preeminent art colleges in the United States. And on top of that, I was also an associate professor at another college for 8 years. So I've been in this space of the things we're going to be talking about for a while, and I'm fairly well informed about it, but I also know a lot about the inner mechanics of where these things start. Now, my history with Harry Potter is a little bit different. One of my first jobs out of college was to do some border illustration for the Harry Potter trading card game. So if you have that game and you see any of those cards, you can see art by Shanthan Jetty and another artist who also worked on those cards. So I've actually done in some small part. You can look it up, Shanthan Jetty art or Shanthan Jetty Harry Potter trading cards, and you can see the border I illustrated and some of the artwork on it. So I have been aware of the success of this, like how could you not be, for a very long time. And what was interesting to me about it was, and something a lot of people missed, was that in 2007, where you had fan communities really starting to take hold online and the next generation was coming up, there was a website that, if you scroll down, I forget the name, but it was something really,
Pottermore.
Complicated.
Yeah?
Yeah. The Harry Potter lexicon.org. Pottermore is actually J.K. Rowling's official site, so I misspoke.
Oh, okay.
But,
I quickly browsed through it and I just remembered that one. Okay, so the Harry Potter lexicon.
The Harry Potter lexicon, and it was and the person who ran that website that, again, used as sort of a thing. Well, J.K. Rowling says that she loves my fan site. Why would she have a problem with this? Decided to try to publish a book through a publisher, which was an encyclopedia on all of the Harry Potter lore.
To sell.
Yeah. To sell. Through a publisher to sell and profit from in 2007. And there was a great deal of shock and consternation in the fan base, could you imagine, when her publisher, Warner Brothers, and whoever else was involved in this said, excuse me, you can't take someone else's intellectual... Like, you have people who visit your website because of the world she built, but you can't trade off of it. Like, you can write an article about Mickey Mouse.
It's already iffy. It's already iffy if you're like selling memberships or ads on this Harry Potter website. But they might want to just say like, oh, well, let's just let that slide because people are loving it and they're building the IP. But when it comes to the point, like, and not only a book, but
Yes.
a lexicon. So a kind
Yes.
of authority, an encyclopedia, as it were. The definitive, they're trying to like make a encyclopedia of the world that J.K. Rowling made. I know people might think, well, like Harry Potter is so massive, like does it really matter? Imagine if it was like someone else in this space, Rini, who's done the same thing. She's built this world, she's got a language and everything. Imagine some other person was just like, I'm gonna make money off that. I'm gonna do the official I'm trying to pretend to do an official encyclopedia of Fiendish, the world. How that would go down.
Well, and this is something she played into that is a big issue that people face. It does not matter how big it is and how much money you make from it. You owe nothing to anyone else but yourself. And that is where J.K. Rowling, in my opinion, if you scroll down to where you were, that is where she made her misstep. In navigating this, and this is a streak in her, and this is, I think that she's an incredibly, obviously, creative and intelligent human being, but this is where her own ideology tripped her up and I think opened the door for a lot of what she faced. She said, and I quote, "The infringing book is particularly troubling as it is a direct contravention to Miss Rowling's repeatedly stated intention to publish her own companion book to the series." And the publisher also said, where is it? Let's see. There was one where they said, here it is. "I cannot therefore approve of the companion books or encyclopedias that seek to preempt my definitive Harry Potter reference book for their author's own personal gain," she said. "The losers in such a situation would be the charities that I hope to eventually give the money to." So she asserted her ownership. She felt so nervous about, in my opinion, about the political blowback, I'm sure the publisher was saying it, that she essentially justified it by the fact that she was going to give the money to charity. If that makes sense.
Like that's what they do on Kickstarter. It's like they actually show, those pie graphs. It's like, trust me, guys, we're not making any money off this. It's a weird, like they can't stand profit or because she's definitely of the left. The people in this chat probably, even if like me, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. There's probably very little I agree with, apart from a couple of things that, I mean, pretty much the thing she's being cancelled over. A couple of, like, we don't agree ideologically or politically at all. But she was right in that. But yeah, she let the door open a little bit by saying, "Oh, it's going to be for charity. It's all right. Don't worry about it." Because that's where they can find a way in.
This was something, though, that did not exist, I mean, culturally, up until the point of a certain thing that we're going to cover in terms of, but it's not so much the theory as it is the idea in practice, which is there's a couple of big mistakes that I believe people are making with regards to her. One, she is not being canceled for her politics. She is being canceled for her success and the belief that other people have that she's not entitled to the fruits of her success. Basically, the things they're using about her politics are based on use a certain ideology. But make no mistake, when this book happened, she was very much still a darling. But they were already asserting that, why do I not get to make money off of your idea that you own and you're the author of? Can't overstate.
And it's, for anyone who isn't aware, and I don't know how you couldn't be, forever, going back really since the whole, bit activists on Twitter has existed, they have all, like, Harry Potter has been their series or whatever. They would use, Harry Potter references like for Voldemorting and, all this, like, it was their thing. It even became a meme in and of itself. Read another book, because that was the only book that they would ever reference. That is how ingrained it was. So in the last couple of years, to see it completely flip, and you say it started here in 2007, but it really came to a head in the last couple of years where they're like, no, we completely actually disown Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling over a disagreement on gender as well. And now it's sort of verboten. I'm going to skip forward just for context here. We're going to get to reader response theory, but I just want to show, like, this is where we're at.
Though, can I just say this? They did read another book. At least it was called White Fragility, and so we'll get to the second books that they read. But go ahead.
Brianna Wu, who we all remember from Comicsgate. Do you remember this person? Is, you know, for some reason still gets talked about. Hogwarts Legacy isn't a game, it's a character test. A lot of people are about to fail it. F around and find out. This is why it's really important for decent people to boycott Hogwarts Legacy. I have a lot of friends in games and media. I will be cutting ties to anyone who promotes this. How'd they do? It's number 1 on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox weeks before its release. This thing doesn't come out until February. So it is funny. Like the people who are kind of claiming ownership or who are butthurt that they couldn't claim ownership over Harry Potter, and also about the differences of opinions there politically, are clearly in a pretty extreme minority, but they do go around everywhere pretending like, what did she say? Like decent. They're the decent people. And that implies that that's the majority. Like, you would imply the majority of people are decent. But it turns out, no, you're actually the kind of extremists. You're on the extreme end of this spectrum.
Depends on your definition of decent, doesn't it? Now, let me tell you who aren't decent people according to this ideology, to be clear. The people who aren't decent are people who profit from their talent. People who are able to succeed in an egalitarian situation, regardless in some instances on how financially poorly off they are at the start of their journey, which she was. And so that is the issue here. The issue that we're dealing with is, and people need to get away from this idea that this is about any of the social political issues they say it's about, that it's about anything other than they are trying to. They hate her for her success, they hate her for being exceptional, and they hate her for what she has that they want, which is both a good idea, which they are wanting for, and financial success, which they are wanting for. And they're greedy for it like no capitalist is. That's the definition of a communist, in a sense.
They're greedy for it like no capitalist is. I like that. Yeah, well, they were using for the longest time. They were using the things in the world that were just known by everyone. Like, everyone knows what it means to Voldemort someone now. To, like, the he who shall not be named sort of thing, right? They were using that as a cudgel out there for their thing. So when it became clear that, you know, she wasn't just going to let them take over the whole thing and control it, they absolutely lost their mind. Now, you are, as you said at the start of this, you are a ex-professor. How long did you teach for?
18 years.
18 years. You were in the belly of the beast for 18 years. So you know a little bit about this stuff.
Comic skaters out there. I left an 18-year career to be here. Just has to. I want to make sure people understand that. That's
you weren't kicked out. You left.
No, but more importantly, I left a stable profession that took me a decade and a half to get a full-time position in, and countless degrees, countless hours. So this was not a small decision for me. And hail, my brother Eric. Good to see you, man.
D, you absolutely bloody legend, has gifted 5 memberships. Welcome, American Comics, Philip V, Anonymity, Ted Bullpet. Great to have you here, Ted, and L.E. Munoz. So, D, I know which one you want.
Well, cheers, big ears.
Now, the theory behind all this is a real theory. It is a real, and we all know critical theory. We're all aware of it, I think, in this corner. And essentially, we've got a very short video. I think we should probably look at it because some of the points, I don't want to miss any of them because some of the points are just like, oh, Yes, I see what's
Yeah.
up. Like, it's funny that you're familiar with the Mott and Bailey. Is that what it's called? The Mott and Bailey theory or something? Arvind always talks about it, where it's like they try and in this instance they try, oh, this is a very academic theory. It's about becoming a critical reader. And then they'll use that to sort of like, no, we are claiming ownership over your entire IP. And you must bow to our demands. You see that with shipping. You see that with, well, all of these IPs that just get so massive. And then these activists try and claim it. Now we're going to play the video. We can pause it and talk about it. You can get your insights into it because I think you know a lot more about it than I do. But before I do, let me just grab this super chat here from Snuggy. Stoked you'll like your metal bookmarks in Phoenix. Was an honor to feature your art on the campaign. It was an honor to be on there, Snuggy. I saw your comment earlier. Who's like, I've profited off the talent of others in the bookmarks campaign. That's okay. We freely gave up our creativity to you.
He profited off of the earned goodwill of
why people hate the Hogwarts game, Mighty Magic. Well, let us take you on a journey to the institutions. And here's a video called Reader Response Theory. I apologize, the audio is a little bit overcooked, but let's just play this, see what happens.
Hi, it's Miss Lamb with a short video on Reader Response.
All right, I'm not going to play it like that because it goes over the top of our thing. Let me actually, I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll share a video file. That's probably the way to do it. Here we go.
Hi, it's Miss Lamb with a short video on Reader Response Theory. Louise Rosenblatt said, a reader makes a...
Who's Louise Rosenblatt? Do you know who this is? Is she...
an author of a reader response theory book that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked it up since yesterday, but a book that deals with introducing this at the secondary education level. And to be clear, let me be really clear because this is so important. This is the idiocy that begins with seemingly intelligent concepts that I can't overstate. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Which is the dumbest thing you'll ever hear. Because sound are waves. And if a tree falls in the woods, it makes sound waves. Now, whether you're there or not, that's kind of like, if my friend, Steve, falls off a cliff and I'm not there to see it, did he fall off the cliff? You bet he did. You know what I mean? Just go out and get more data.
So this is academic navel gazing that then activists get their hand on, and then they're like, oh, I can use this to get power out there in culture. I ask because a lot of these people, especially the original guy of critical race theory and critical gender theory, is a complete piece of work. So I was just asking to see if there's any sort of history there. But let's move on.
Poem as he reads. He does not see an Blatt said, a reader makes a poem as he reads. He does not see an unalterable meaning that lies within the text. He creates meaning from the confrontation.
Reminds me of what's going on in your country with the Constitution and the Second Amendment. It's like, well, it's not what's written per se. It's the interpretation over the years that really matter.
So, yes, that is the case, and this is something that I want to make sure I say, and I swear I haven't felt like this since I taught college. Like, I was like, I got to prepare some notes for this, because this is important, and this is the thing that gets me. Okay, let's talk about two terms, real quick. Hypothesis versus theory. A hypothesis is an assumption before research is done, period.
Yeah.
A theory is a principle found to explain things already shown in data. So let's start with this. This is neither critical nor a theory because there is no way to back this up with data other than somebody's belief. What these things are uncritical cognitive distortions. That's what people have to understand. So you've got a confirmation bias distortion and a framing bias distortion. And it's a confirmation of a Marxist ideology, victim-victimizer, the power inequity between, and this has actually been talked about at colleges. I was in a meeting about it. The power inequity between the author and the reader. Everything is framed in terms of Marxism. So the only way they can reconcile this twisted insanity, and believe me, if you call it out by name, they will absolutely be shocked, right? Absolutely be shocked. Mel, homework's coming.
When you call it Marxism,
I'm an Asian.
I
not
get
a
like
Bayesian.
whenever I bring up Marxism or communism with relating to social justice in a video, I always get a ton of comments like, "Oh my god, you're an idiot! This has nothing to do with any of that."
Yep.
Always.
Yeah. Always. And so here's the thing that we have to talk about here. The idea of this, what is now called reader response theory. It used to be reader response criticism, but they're always quick that if you have a bad idea long enough, it's scientifically proven. That's their attitude, right? So the idea is this, is that by reading the book, again, if the tree falls in the wood and there's no one there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. If a book isn't read, it's not brought to life, which is insane because it is absolutely brought to life when it's written. If that makes sense.
So would they argue that the author's intentions in writing a story do not even really exist until the reader reads the words?
It's a 50-50 with maybe 60-40 in favor of the reader by their analysis. Yeah. Think of how insane that is.
Now, the reason we're having this discussion, and I like this because it's like I used to do these shows like this all the time where we dive into a single concept, is sometimes all you need is a frame of reference, like a place to stand and then once you know this stuff, you see it everywhere. Now they know it because they came through the institutions. They came through that. When I say they, I mean like the people out there, the activists, the writers, the journalists, now like they came through the institutions. They already know this stuff. They already have this in their heads when they go out there and make the arguments that they make. But you might not be aware of it. So you're confused. It's like, I don't understand why they're doing this. Like, well, it's because they think, and that's why we're getting into it. Like, they think they own these things, literally. Like, they created meaning in these IPs out there themselves, as readers, as fans. And you get, like, it gets worse later on. Trust me. It's insane. Yeah. He says the Communist Manifesto reads like an emo kid's live journal from the late 90s. Poor old no mate's Carl.
That's right. Yep.
All right, let's continue on here.
Reader response theory stresses the interaction between reader and text. The intentions of the writer are irrelevant since a text can have multiple meanings that shift over time.
The old your truth, my truth, his truth, her truth, Zer's truth, but not the author's truth, because that...
How come when you said my truth, though, you emphasized it, and when you were talking about your truth and looking at me, you victimized me? Do you guys understand how pathologically insane this is? Now, here is the thing that is fascinating about this. First of all, when you write and author a work of art, or any creative work, any endeavor, if you create an invention, if you have a patent, everybody knows this. The person who creates the thing, I could make a work of art out of straws. They're designed to drink drinks with, but I could take a straw and make a work of art. But it doesn't change that it's a straw, and it doesn't mean that the person who created the straws is the author of my art. There's this interesting breakdown, right, of attribution of who does it. So the proper attribution of resources. When an author makes a work, the attribution of this resource they've created is if we don't like it, right? We don't buy it, we don't read it, its resource has no value. But if we do, it's a statement of their ability, and we attribute the success and the due resources to them and the people who bear the burden of the risk. When you buy a book, you aren't risking losing your house because you made the book. It is not the same investment. It's not years of your life to write it. It's maybe a week or two to read it. Maybe. If you're me, maybe a year or two. It happens. But it's one of those things that people don't understand, that there is a completely different amount of risk for the creator, and also the aspect of the fact that with the risk and the investment of your resources, because you're bearing all of the risk, you get the reward. That is noble. And
this reminds me exactly of when they say, like, why should an owner of a company get the profits from a company when the workers actually do the work? And that's what they don't understand. Well, the owner of the company took out the loan, built the company up from nothing.
Talking about
Sometimes, or
Shapiro?
maybe they took out a big loan. They took on that risk. And if it all goes down, that risk lands on them, not the employees. And yeah, they never seen that. Does not a convincing argument to them. So I guess what you're saying wouldn't be convincing to them here either. But I mean, yeah, it's the exact. You're right. It does. It all goes back to Marxism. And speaking of, Jasper says, "Goddamn, I want to hear Sharp debate that bread tuber." And Snuggy points out the workers got paid. Eric says, "I need to write this down." You do write it down because there will be a test.
There will be a test.
And you will be
like
great.
I said, I grade on a curve, but many of you will be failing. Again, that's just how I came up, people. I'm sorry. You know, it's
No, he's a hard taskmaster. I feel like I should have worn a tweed jacket or something with some elbow patches for this.
Do you normally,
show.
Mr. Bancroft, do you normally leave your hat on when you're in class, or is that just something you do?
I'm sorry, Mr. Njetti.
Let me, Professor,
you know,
I didn't
my
get a
look.
master's degree to be called Mr. So anyway, no. But listen. So let's break this down though, because this is really important, right? Is that we can go back to all of these things, the individual agreements and contracts between individuals are a completely separate thing. That is how if you look at Ayn Rand defines it beautifully. She says there's two different kinds of people, the looters and the traders. Now, when somebody buys my book, they are, for all intents and purpose, a trader, Trader, because what they're doing is they're trading their labor for my labor. And it is a free exchange between individuals. These folks don't understand that, because many of them, as you know, will be getting these books or manga or whatever online for free. So they don't even understand the concept of the risk that the publisher makes in Japan or in the States if it's being published here. They don't understand that investment of resources. Now, if you have a generation who grows up where these things are all ethereal, and that you publishing someone's manga book online is the same thing as you publishing your DeviantArt work online, to them it's the same thing. So why do you get success? They have no concept of actually making money. They see it as about status, and they don't know where the money comes from. It's very strange.
Not knowing where the money is going to come from is a major frustration for me when I hear people talking about socialist type things. It's always like, you know, that famous argument, like, why don't women soccer players get paid as much as men? And I always say, like, well, who's going to pay them? Where is the money coming from? You understand? Where? Like, this money doesn't exist and it's being withheld. It doesn't exist. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Let's continue on with
Why can't I be paid to play Thor, Michael? Why don't women want to see me with my shirt off? Well, one, because they probably would never recover. It might, turn them off.
It's a health hazard
entirely, But yeah, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, horrible philosophy. But anyway, go ahead.
In this theory, reading is a transaction.
Just before we continue, this music is beatnik. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
I'm going to go bop, but beep, beep, bop, bop, bam. I tried nothing, and I'm all out of ideas. Philip V says, Professor Njetti is spitting facts. Okay, sorry, I interrupted her here.
Reading is a transaction or exchange in which readers construct meaning as they progress through a text.
No.
See, I see how this is like, oh, it sounds like a good idea, right? It sounds like, yeah, I will, of course, imbue something of myself into, especially if it's a book, like it's happening in my head, yeah. But so that's why it's a start of a good idea, but where they're gonna take it and run with it, it's like,
no, it's not the start of a good idea. I'm sorry, this is
I mean, like, it's a start of a, like, no, come on, Sean. When I'm saying, like, when you read a book, it happens in
No,
your head.
I don't read books. Go ahead. Sorry. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Like
teasing.
when you're reading a book, it's just like you haven't seen. Well, let's stick to Harry Potter. You haven't seen a Harry Potter movie, and you're reading the book. You're creating what does the castle look like inside your head? And so I accept that happens, yeah. But what I'm saying, I think what they're going is that you own that. That's real, like that's a part of the story. It's like no, that happened inside your head. That's your own thing. You don't.
No, but you know what? When I was in that barbershop quartet in Skokie, Illinois, there was a guy there who, yeah, exactly right. Now listen, when you pictured that barbershop quartet, that was not construction. I know. That was not work. Do you understand? Anyone in the chat who works construction, and we have some brilliant people who work construction, to diminish actual labor, reading is not labor. It's not labor. And to the degree that it's creative is like, well, I chose to go this way instead of that way in BioShock. So
I wouldn't even call it creative. I wouldn't even call it creative because it just happens organically. It's creative in the sense that, you know, your eyes are able to accept input, you know, and you're able to see things.
If you play cricket, do you consider yourself to be creating the game of cricket by playing it?
Excellently put. Exactly. Excellently put. Things like this produce the useful idiots who think they're the shot callers, but they're just troublemakers, says Jasper. Okay. Exactly.
Because readers bring their own experiences and ideologies to the text, their responses will differ.
Pause.
The reader infuses personal meaning.
That's the most important line. No, you, my friends, bring your ideologies to the text. We do not. Do you understand that? They slip that in so quick. Because readers bring their ideologies to the text. No. They bring themselves, and that is not an ideology, that's not a race, that's not anything. That they don't believe in individuals. They believe you are a meat sack filled with ideologies, prejudices, and absolutely nothing else. And we have
a soldier in the army, in the fight against capitalism and individualism and liberty and objectivism, all that sort of stuff. Shant, stop interrupting. A woman is talking. You are mansplaining this woman's.
Well, actually, what?
Hey, Brian, you bigot.
Yeah.
Did you just what is it? What does that say? Like you assume someone's gender?
No, I want to say this. Let me tell you something, Brian. I'm not pulling your rickshaw right now, so don't tell me what to do. All right, listen, here's the thing. Let me just say this right quick. First of all, to quote Samuel Jackson talking to Brie Larson in Kong Skull Island, here's what I'd like to say to this person. Bitch, please. That's what I would say to her if I was there.
Bitch,
so yeah,
please.
Bitch, please. All right, go ahead.
All right. Continue.
I love you, Brian.
Into verbal symbols on a page, and the text channels meaning through its structure.
Nonsense.
To create meaning in this framework, a reader must be active, constantly building and synthesizing meaning, paying attention not only to words on the page, but also to the images and emotions he or she is experiencing.
Pause this for a second.
I mean, that read like Roald Dahl. Like it Flubenslorbs and Cobblygoms and Gimbly. Like that's just like someone wrote something and then they got a thesaurus and it's like, okay, we got to make this sound smart. Because we just got a whole sentence here, and it was a long sentence to say absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So this is the thing that we've got to understand, right? There are millions of people, maybe dare I say a billion plus people perhaps, who've read Harry Potter and reading Harry Potter and all of those kinds of things, right? If every single one of them in their minds is a co-author participant in this, it is basically erasing the influence of the only person responsible for this book. It's insane. And it is a form of complete and utter narcissism. It is like me saying, if I don't read, and guys, back Brian Kriskow, Six Gun Gorilla, it would be like me saying, if I don't read Six Gun Gorilla, it doesn't exist. Or, when I read it, God, it's so hard. When I read Cyberfrog, Oh man, I felt like, I mean, Ethan and I put in the same amount of work into that. Kyle Ritter, I don't even think he did anything. It was mainly just me and Ethan who made that book.
Who is this video made for, Eric? It's made for new recruits to the army of activists to head out there into the world. And
this is important because I hate to say this, but it's the truth. It's made for young people. The author they're citing wrote a book for secondary education, which is to say high school students and middle school students. That is who this is targeted to. And they are teaching this already in our schools.
The comment section on this video on YouTube is just like, oh yeah, thank you so much for being so. This is you're exactly right, 100%. Blah 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 blah. Jasper, you absolute mad lad.
You little ripper! Thanks, lads.
Says, dude, we are. Hang on. Yeah, I can't. It's going to be covered. We are 100% losing because we don't have these communication tools. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, they took over the institutions. So, you know, we don't really have control over institutions. All we have is, I guess, YouTube at this point left to debunk this stuff.
But YouTube has a bigger, more active audience than college students.
That is true. That is true. But they don't listen to YouTube videos when deciding policy, you know.
They listen to Twitter. Do you get what I'm saying? Why do you think they're so frightened? Like, I will never listen. The small independent studio backed by Universal, Blumhouse, just released a movie called Megan. It cost $12 million to make, give or take, and it raised $100 million. Another movie that's a complete work of you know, liberal fantasy, starring Kate Blanchett, and came out. What's it called? Is it called Terror? I think it is. It had a budget, or it raised $6 million. Its international take was $400,000, and it had a budget of $36 million. So there is no audience for non-pop culture work. And as someone who's been a teacher, I can tell you the students are not paying attention. They only pay attention. They are getting sucked into this stuff because it's and you know, I can explain that, but we're looking at this all wrong. It's the biggest black pill in the world to think they have more power than they do. My greatest failure, I think, in thinking about all of this stuff was I didn't think that this ideology could truly bring something as big as the Walt Disney Company to its knees, and it is at this very moment. So make no mistake, they are not that powerful. Period.
I just did a short on it today about how we just saw Twitter months they've been trying to get to boycott this Harry Potter game, and all it's done is have the exact opposite effect. And I think, exactly right. They only have the power that we give them as a as a society. And if we just stopped giving them power, they wouldn't be able to exercise anything, because it's all based on shit like this. It's all based on just made up in your head, strange, quote unquote theories that aren't theories.
And they prey on the fact that you don't know it. So here's how idiots talk about this stuff. Here's how the idiots talk about it. They go, why do you think that like J.K. Rowling has more ownership than the fans? And your only response is, it's the and this is from my neck of the woods, it's the Goodwill Hunting thing, right? Yeah, like right now what you're quoting reader response theory. Like once you call them out on the stupidity of where they got it from, they're so convinced that you don't know what's happening in their little cult. And that's what it is. It's an overpriced cult. Let's be clear. They feel above you because you don't have the special knowledge they have. They feel insecure when you know actual, like, if they're around Anna and she knows actual Star Wars lore and she knows they've shattered canon, they lose their minds. But they lose their souls when you say to them, aren't you just quoting reader response theory? That delusional bit of insane Marxist jargon that claims to think. Let me ask you a question. do you think Harry Potter would exist if it was just readers and you remove J.K. Rowling? You have to force them to say, either look stupid by saying yes, or, prove themselves wrong. You have to lead them into the obvious no. The obvious no that's staring them in the face.
Preach it, Sean, says Zade Studios.
Yep.
And Mel says, these people are so self-absorbed. Narcissists,
Yes.
Absolute narcissists. All right, we got to continue on because we only got 5 minutes left, and we just got to finish this video because it's still some funny bits in it.
You gonna tap out in 5 minutes? Come on, man. No.
The text does not embody meaning, but rather guides the active creation of meaning.
What? Did I hear that? The text
you
does
did.
not embody meaning, but guides the active creation of meaning.
Do you know, Michael, if I wasn't watching this show, it wouldn't exist? I am the co-creator of this show. Everyone in the chat is actually...
I don't know if I would exist.
Yeah, you wouldn't exist. Like, it's as if someone walked up to you and said, so are you saying, like, if I pushed you off a cliff, but I closed my eyes, I'd be a murderer? Yes. You absolutely would be, friend. I'm sorry if you think when you close your eyes the world disappears and that we all exist for you to create with your eyes through perception, but you're a madman. It's like insane.
Absolutely insane. Meaning is a code word, says Julie. Yeah, we just got to figure it out.
Creation of meaning.
Yeah.
But it's important to keep in mind that reader response is not the same as personal response. Rather, the individual responses are situated in a larger community of readers through active discussion.
I knew you'd like that.
Oh, I don't like it, but it's like it's like seeing somebody drop their hand when you have a punch lined up. How quickly did they get to the destruction of the individual and communism, the community, that you have to go online and go, I don't know, am I allowed to buy this video game? While secretly doing it. It's hilarious.
Jasper says we need to stop raging and laughing at this shit and start offering an alternative. Well, I mean, I don't know what to do.
We're doing it.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, we do each one of us individually are doing our own small part by making and protecting our own creations. Like that. Obviously, the problem here is, enormous at this stage, and unfortunately, we've let it get to this point. Because I remember when people used to laugh at stuff like this. It's just in the, it's just in academia. It's just on Tumblr, and as you said, it's like we didn't think back then that they could take down Disney, but they're doing a pretty damn good go of it. But yeah, that community line was just like, oh my god. The community owns it. That leads us full circle back to the lexicon. What do you mean we can't produce and decide that, I don't know, this character is a non-binary furrykin? We, the community, have decided that they are. And yeah, I feel like I'm actively losing brain cells, says Eric.
So allow me to say, because there's this thing I want to make sure I speak to directly to this, because it is not something that's coming from the colleges down. It's an unholy alliance, in a sense, because Marxism has always been there. This reader response criticism started in the 1950s or 60s. It's just being adopted by a group of people who had a particular cultural upbringing. And this is the thing I want to make sure I say that's really clear. I wrote this down, I said this is important. So with the two generations now that came up, the ubiquity of platform access and the ability to, the initial egalitarian nature of it, where anybody could post on DeviantArt, anybody could post on Twitter, anybody could put their stuff out there, created a situation that in and of itself revealed, which was kind of terrible, the inequity of intelligence, talent, ability, beauty, and charisma. That was the unfortunate nature of this egalitarian system. Everybody had access to platforms. The platforms were all free. You could show your wares. And by showing your wares, people were able to look at them and decide, ooh, I would rather follow her on Instagram than her. I would rather follow that artist than this person. And here's the funny thing about it that people don't understand. When you raise a young generation of a particular group of people, class of people, whatever you want to call it, to think they're all special, they're all excited, and that the only reason they couldn't be special and highly successful is because something is fixed against them, they will move immediately when confronted with reality to not an egalitarian platform system, but an attempt to deplatform people based on them proving that they're not exceptional. So deplatforming, which ties beautifully into Marxist ideology, is really a natural outcome of an egalitarian system revealing that you're not special when you have the hypothesis that you are. And you find a theory that says you have to be. It's an unholy marriage. And so that's really where things go to. And I will tell you this is the kind of thing, as you well know, Michael, that is not just an SJW thing. This can crop up between YouTubers. This can crop up between comic skaters. Why has this person got more purchases than this person over here? Because according to my subjective opinion, I should be doing better than this person. And it's the most dangerous road to go down. Rather than seeing what your success could be, rather than seeing what you're capable of, it destroys the individual because you can't tolerate working with great people. And it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane.
Brian Crisco has a great point here, and this explains why they feel entitled to take over every fandom they discover. Yes. Yeah, they do feel entitled, and if you even say like no, like this is how it is, it's like an affront to their very approach to consuming. Well, in this case, we're talking about stories, but I mean, really anything. That's a great point. Like it can happen to anyone, and we've seen that happen time and time again. Dojo says this is an analogy to what MTV did to the radio. I'll have to think. Dojo, my brain is already, I'm being pulled like a piece of taffy, and it's really thin at the moment.
Drinking from a fire hose at the moment.
It really is. Thank you for the super chat though. All right, we do have to finish this video. There's only a little bit left. Let's get to it.
These ideas are brought to you courtesy of Critical Encounters in Secondary English by Deborah Appelman and Doing Literary Criticism.
Critical. Yeah.
How does they read?
By Tom Gillespie.
Critical Encounters in Secondary. I mean, the word critical, they use it. It's like, it sounds so clever and
it's
intellectual and important. It's the exact opposite. As we have found out. I also want to say hello to this man right here who did make it just in time. Where is he here? Where is he? Hail Mo Biggs, just towards the end. Thank you so much for turning up, man. I know it's the night that you can't really catch the show live, but we've been having a great discussion. Mo says, according to my calculations, Shant is replete with voracious nicety. I probably slaughtered that, but we need books like this from our side, says Jasper Plan 9. Let's write them, Jasper. I can't write them. I don't have time for that, but you could. Sounds like you could. Jasper, write the book. We'll shell it. We'll sell it to the people. Shant, thank you for enlightening me on the ways of the critical reader response theory. I don't know if I don't know how I feel now. Am I black pilled? Am I red pilled?
If someone's coming to take your head off, and I tell you as your boxing trainer, they have a tendency. If I tell you, you know what their thing is though that no one's noticed yet? They have a tendency to drop their right hand when they jab with their left. You should feel thrilled, and you should feel as freaking white pilled as ever.
I'm white pilled.
Yep.
Now I'm armed.
You're armed.
Now I know their
what
strategy.
Door they're coming in.
I think it's true. Like now that, like, it's always been true. Like people come to me and say, "Oh, what?" Like Rob was saying this the other day. Why are DC doing this? Why are Marvel doing this? I'm like, bro, where have you been for 5 years? We know why. We've figured it out. So you're right. If we can figure this stuff out, we're better prepared. We're like Shane. We're we've got our stance ready. So Jasper says he can write 5 pages. Okay, well, let's get this thing started.
Right.
Now, before we leave, I just want to show one last video because it is really important for everyone to really understand. After that, while you're digesting that very dense, what's a dense cake? Mud cake? Take a little bit of this
Mousse?
in for your after dessert.
No sparrow, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
It was only right of me to play your new trailer, considering you've played my trailer about 500 times by now. Thank you for that.
I've also, composed. It was a parody. I didn't construct the music, although in listening to it, I am the composer. Called Michael Boy that I proudly sang and played violin to. So I want to point that out as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be taking ownership of some John Williams, I think, before
Amen.
he retires.
That's right.
And taking that for the Lucent, I think it makes sense. He seems to do very well for other properties, so why not our property, the Lucent? Everyone, if you haven't backed Nosfero the Crypt Walker, you need to get your head checked, because this is one of, very, very, very few hand-painted comic books that I've ever seen, and it looks like this. So you've got to back it. You have to. You literally have to back it. Do it now if you haven't. And go watch Shanth while he paints, because he talks about there's so much going on in this book, in this world that he's building. He's planned everything out with the characters, and it's a really interesting story where the Nosfero, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Nosfero, his blood, he can't be turned. He can't be turned into it. Is that how it works? So they're constantly feeding on him. I'm guessing like they're using him. And
they were using
that's
him,
the sort
feeding
of
on him,
setup.
And then they performed a ritual to kind of, with the hope that they were going to open a doorway for, some Lovecraftian horror in his mind. Like, they opened the door there. And, of course, when they did it, it changed his blood to be something that poisons them. And they're not sure why, but I'm sure why. But it's...
you know why. Yeah. But hang on, you need to tell all of us now, because we're co-owners of this, Sean.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'll tell you this much. His blood also... He was born with this thing before that happened, that his blood never runs out. So they like to refer to him and think of him as an ocean from which no vampire may drink. And that is the way it is.
I like that. An ocean from which no vampire may drink. These pages are just,
the new stuff's even better.
What can I say? Yeah, they're like, and you know what? I he actually has these. Like, you can see him right there behind him. He has them. They're these big paintings on this really thick, beautiful card. And do back it. Do make sure you are subbed to Shanth. He has the best draw/paint streams. He has up to, let's have a look here, 541 backers. And what's that it would be great to see him get up to 34,000 and beyond. And if you enjoyed listening to what just happened over the last hour, and how could you not? Just follow Shant, get amongst it, become part of it. Looks badass, says Eric. Love seeing Shant's live streams. Great stuff. Mo says Nosferatu will ruin you for other comics. It's the Rod of graphic novels. In Rod, we trust.
True.
Eric says Shant is a lovely human being. I attest to that.
Thank you. God bless you.
When I grabbed the ARO art, he sent me an Ella piece of art as well with it. So I can attest. Brian Chriskow, my art in Nosferatu is looking pretty sweet. It is.
It's beautiful.
Take it.
Thank
it's
you.
yours.
It's yours.
You put in as much time and effort as Shant did, surely, by looking at it just now.
And I want Brian to know this, and I mean this sincerely, Brian. I intend to share the debt with you equally.
Yeah, when the tax man comes round,
that's right.
Shant will forward you the.
Can someone screen cap that for me? Brian claiming that.
All right, Shant, we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for suggesting this topic and coming on and doing it.
Thank you, brother, for having me on.
That was, man, eye-opening. Absolutely eye-opening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The biggest thank you of all, as always, goes out to the wonderful, amazing, incredible, sexiest chat in all of CG. I will see you guys tomorrow night. I think we're going to have Narwhal on. We're going to checking out his new book and all the other stuff he's up to. So until then, I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Individually, we are weak, like a single twig, but as a bundle, we form a mighty